The Kia Sportage is, when you think about it, the car version of an air fryer. It's exploded in popularity in the past few years, and anyone that's got one won't stop banging on about how good it is. I don't care if it can make fake KFC, it's not a proper oven, nan. Sorry. Anyway, new 2022 Kia Sportage is here. It's in stock at Motorpoint, and I'm going to tell you if it lives up to the hype. This 5th generation Sportage is designed specifically for us here in Europe, so it's a little bit shorter than the version you can get elsewhere in the world, but just look at it, it's very striking. Kia says its design is inspired by nature's simplicity and purity. Yeah, I think if I saw one of these in the wild, I'd presume it's going to abduct me and try to probe me. But anyway, if this is a bit too bold for your tastes, click up there to watch our review of the previous generation Sportage, which looks a little bit more traditional. As you can see, all new Sportages get LED headlights and these really distinctive LED daytime running lights. And they also go really, really big on safety tech. That's why you've got a whole bank of sensors up here, which can not only detect other cars, but cyclists and pedestrians as well, to keep everyone safe. Oh, it also goes big on warranty too. Get Kia's standard 7-year warranty on all new Sportages. And speaking of big, look at the size of these screens, they're huge. The infotainment in here is a 12.3-inch screen and it kind of curves into this digital dashboard. It's almost one seamless bit of glass, like in a high-end Mercedes. Now, this is a launch edition car, which is based on the mid-spec 3 trim, and lower spec cars get a smaller screen here, which does slightly ruin the look of this panel here. But otherwise, it's pretty superb in here. Storage is sort of okay. I've got 2 cup holders down here, a little storage bit there, a little place for my phone there, and a big cubby under here. But the door bins aren't that big, and there's no storage for your sunglasses up here like you get in a Ford Kuga. But otherwise, I like it. I've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but I have to plug in to use them. And I've got really sharp reversing camera. My only real niggle is this little panel here. It's full of shortcut buttons for the infotainment system to get you to your radio screen, your nav screen, or whatever. But you can't really feel it because it's virtual buttons and they don't vibrate when you press them. And you can flick it to then control your aircon and everything else. So you just have to take your eyes off the road a little bit, and it's a little bit fiddly. I don't hate it. It is quite cool, but it's not that user-friendly on the move. Oh, and I've also got heated seats and heated steering wheels, and they do get physical buttons down there. Heated steering wheels? I've only got 1. It doesn't come with 2 steering wheels. Sorry. Space in the back is actually pretty good. I've got knee room, I've got loads of headroom, and I've got room for my feet under the driver's seat. And that's in my driving position, and it's as low as it will go as well, so you're not going to get trapped hooves. Now, some quite cool features in here. For a start, you can recline your seats for a little bit more comfort, but they don't slide backwards and forwards like the ones in the Ford Kuga do. And I've got little USB-C slots here on the back of the seat. So if you've got tech-addicted kids, they can plug in for long trips. They can build peaceful Minecraft villages together or something. And I've also got a handy little kind of hook bit built into the back of the headrest, so you can hang jackets and coats on there if you're not using your back seats. It's really good back here, and I quite like it. At 4.5 meters long, it's about 30 mil longer than the outgoing Sportage, which is why I had a bit more knee room in the back than in the old one. And it's a bit longer than a Volkswagen Tiguan as well. Now, this particular car's got a manual gearbox, but if you get it with the automatic gearbox in a high trim, you can use the key to remotely drive the car forward and backwards when you're not in it, which is quite handy if you're getting into really tight garages and things like that, but it's a little bit gimmicky and it's quite slow and a bit fiddly to do. But I guess it's worth it for TikTok points or whatever the kids are doing these days. Around the back, it nicks a lot of styling cues from the Kia EV6, their flagship electric car. So you've got this light bar across here, you've got this really modern look, and obviously you've got Kia's new badge. Now the boot is 591 litres, which is a whole 100 litres bigger than the outgoing Sportage. So it's a massive space, it's really useful, and you've got loads of space under the boot floor, unless you buy the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid version. They lose about 100 litres of boot space because of all the batteries and electric gubbins. But you do get these handy little levers to fold the rear seats down remotely, which is just nice if you've got hands full of stuff and you're going to the tip. But I want to show you just how big the boot is in real life, which means it's time for the Motorpoint Big Boot Challenge. As you can see, those 4 bags fit in really quite well, actually. There's not loads of extra space, but you get an extra squishy bag in there if you wanted to, and I think you could happily take this on a family holiday for 4 people. You just have to be a bit considerate with your packing. But anyway, at the start I said this was designed for Europe, this version of the Sportage, and it's also been designed for European roads. So let's head out on some European roads of Peterborough and drive it. Right, let's go for a drive in the Kia Sportage, and when you sit in it and you get comfy, you realise that actually there's a big range of adjustment to the steering wheel and the seats. I've got electrically adjustable passenger and driver seats on this launch edition car, and you can just see out really quite well. So it's just very well thought out, like a Volkswagen Tiguan is really, but obviously this is cheaper. I've turned it off. There you go. That's how quiet this 1.6 petrol engine is. It is super smooth and super refined, so much so that you might not notice it's already running when you're doing a video review of it. I am a professional, I promise. Now, the other engines you can get with this, you get a 1.6 diesel with 136 horsepower. This is the 1.6 petrol, as I said. This has got about 150 horsepower, and you can get it with or without mild hybridness, and that basically just cuts your emissions slightly in stop-start traffic. There is a full self-charging hybrid version, and there is a plug-in hybrid version. There's not a full electric version, and I'd say the plug-in hybrid is good. You get about 30 miles of electric-only driving range, but it is really expensive. New, you can spend about £40,000 on one of those if you get a top spec one. Me, I'll just get the 1.6 petrol or diesel, frankly. It's reasonably efficient. I'll get 42, 45 mpg out of this petrol and about 50, 55 out of the diesel, which is about on par with a similarly engined Ford Kuga or Volkswagen Tiguan. But anyway, I'm going to get on some motorways and talk about how quiet it is at motorway speeds and some of the safety tech, and then we'll hit the country roads to see if it's any fun as well. Right, let's accelerate up to 70 miles an hour. It's quite a revvy engine, this petrol engine. It's not too noisy, but you certainly know it's there. And that's 70 miles an hour, so it's plenty quick enough. On paper, it's a 0 to 62 time of just under 10 seconds. But out in the real world, it's fine. Now, the real thing about the Sportage, as I've mentioned, is how big it is on safety technology. It's got a 5-star Euro NCAP crash test rating from 2022, so that's as safe as it really gets. And I've got lane keep assist, I've got all sorts of pedestrian detection, and it can even use the cruise control around corners, and it will set an appropriate speed around corners, and it can steer itself a bit. It's very, very clever. It can basically not quite drive itself, but it's not far off. And that lane keep assist, if it does get annoying, there's a button on the steering wheel. You just hold that and it turns it off. You don't have to go through menus to get rid of it, like on some cars. I didn't mention that you can get this with 4-wheel drive on certain engines. The hybrid and the plug-in hybrid, you can get 4-wheel drives, and also I think diesel as well. But for me, for fuel economy, for my sort of driving, I'll just get a 2-wheel drive one and reap the MPG rewards. But anyway, let's go and ruin our MPG by driving quickly down some country roads. You're not going to be driving your Kia Sportage like a sports car, are you? Because it's not a sports car. But it's nice to know that you can drive it down a country road without making everyone in the car feel sick. It's reasonably flat in the corners. The steering gives you enough confidence to turn in at 60 miles an hour. And the brakes just feel reassuring. There's nothing special about it. It doesn't feel like a Porsche Macan. It feels like a Kia Sportage, but that's absolutely fine. It feels secure on a twisty road. The suspension irons out most of the bumps reasonably well. That was the biggest bump in Peterborough, so don't worry about that one. What it is a really nice companion for long trips and for just doing your normal family routine, getting from A to B safely and with all the tech that you really need or want. But anyway, that sounds suspiciously like an outro, so let's go back to Motorpoint and actually do an outro. So does the latest 2022 Kia Sportage live up to the hype? Well, yes, and then some. It moves the game on massively for the Sportage, and it's now not just competing with its German rivals such as the Volkswagen Tiguan, it's obliterating them, frankly. The tech in here is better, it's easier to use, it's more user-friendly. It's got room, it's got a big boot. I like the way it looks, and frankly, it's my favourite family SUV of the year. The only real downsides are there's no full electric version, and the petrol and diesel engines aren't that special. They're okay. They're not as efficient as some rivals, but otherwise, if you're in the market for a recent family SUV, get the new Kia Sportage. Thank you ever so much for watching this Motorpoint used car video review. Do subscribe to our channel because we've got plenty more coming soon, and head over to motorpoint.co.uk to see our full range of nearly new cars that are all under 4 years old and all under 30,000 miles too, and they're available to drive away today and they're in warranty. I could go on, but you've probably stopped watching already. See you next time.